Good evening, everybody. It is Tadja Morris, and you are live with the Sisters with the Agenda Village, and we are live for Testimony Tuesday. Testimony Tuesday is our day where we come to reflect, release, and celebrate amongst the village our personal testimony. This is our space where we come to talk about where are we at with tackling life today. So I'm super excited to have our guest join us. Kay, if you can send us a request, we can get started. So I'm super excited, everybody. I'm super excited. I am getting myself together. I almost fell asleep, y'all. I was like, wait, hold on. It's about to be 9 o'clock, but I'm here. I am grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have y'all here with me. Before Kay introduces herself, I just want to share that this space is open to you all anytime when you all are ready. Good evening, sis.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to share a little backstory.
Okay.
Um, so this space is open to you all when you all are ready. I send out my requests because I feel like everybody has a testimony to share, but not everybody is ready to share their testimony. And Sisters with the Agenda is about empowering you to speak your truth, to stand in your truth, and we are here to support you along the journey. And I share that because I reached out to Kay. I want to say back when we had the other page, before we got blocked. Before we got blocked, I reached out to Kay and I said, "Sis, I'm ready for you to come share your testimony." And she said, "I wasn't ready. I'm not ready." And then when she was ready, she reached out and she said, "I'm ready to share my story." So I'm so grateful to have you here today. I'm so proud of you for just stepping into your power, stepping into your truth. Sometimes we need some time to get up the energy, to get up the strength to say, I have a testimony, and my testimony is just important as the next person. This space is not just for business owners. Space is not just for women. This space is for men. This space is for youth. Space is for anybody who is ready to release, reflect, and celebrate amongst the village. So thank you, Kay, for trusting us to help share your testimony. Introduce yourself, let them know who you are and all the great things you got going on.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm Kay. I am from Alabama. I'm a full-time graphic, web, and brand designer here for small businesses and other creatives. And I help them basically stand out from the crowd and brand and with, you know, fun, bold, chic designs. I do logos and websites and all of that. And I'm a full-time mom at the same time. So I'm super busy all the time. But at the same time, I do love my time here at home because it's very flexible. But I'm pretty simple. I'm just a little country gal here in Alabama, just chilling out.
Awesome. See, I didn't even know she was all the way out in Alabama. Look,
Hmm.
see, the village stretched long and wide. So I'm so grateful to have you here. So, Testimony Tuesday, this is our space where we come to talk about where are you at with tackling life today. We come to talk all about the personal testimony. So, if you had to answer that question, where are you at with tackling life today?
Well, today, baby, I am tackling life with help. I am I I stopped my journey of being on social media as much because I was having some issues emotionally and just seeing people all the time. Like social media could be so glamorous all the time and it can really affect you in a way. And so it was attacking me mentally and emotionally. And I was like, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was, or maybe I wasn't this and that. And I had to reflect on what I wanted for myself and my business. And so when I first talked to you, when I was saying I wasn't ready, it wasn't because I wasn't ready to talk. It was because I didn't feel like I was there yet to where I wanted to be. I felt like I needed to be more. And so, and I see somebody say it's a lot, and it was. I took the time out. I took a couple of days of, well, it was a couple of weeks that I took for a break, and I got done what I had in a week that I've been procrastinating for
Mm.
months. And so, having those distractions, I know that was the problem. And so I had to get rid of that. So, and then also I was having health issues too that came about. And so those things were tackling me while I was on that journey as well. And so today, this morning, a couple of weeks back, I had tonsillitis, and I also had a really bad ear infection. And then this morning, my other ear started
Oh,
messing up. I said, I know you lying. and so, and so it started hurting today. And I was like, I have to get some rest so that I can be able to talk to you, today. But yeah, so right now, I'm just taking one step at a time, one day at a time, 1 hour, 1 minute, couple of seconds, whatever. I'm just taking those time to regroup myself, emotionally, mentally, and physically. And so right now I'm just tackling one day at a time.
and that is the beauty of self-awareness, because I feel like, all of our journeys probably has some similar story. It may not be in social media that woke us up, and it may not be, a health issue that woke us up to see the sign, but there's going to be some sign that's going to stop us in our track and say, hey
Hmm.
sis, you still got some things to work on. You still got some things to tap into. You still got some things to dig in, and you use the really great word, the distractions. The distractions will slow you down from a lot of things that we could be accomplishing, and finding the ways to put tools in place to stop those distractions. So having that self-discipline and that self-awareness, where did that come from?
Well, to be honest, I really don't know where it come from. I just, I don't think it pinpoints anything. I just have to, well, I could say this. Actually, my my therapist helped me with that. I would say that because at first I didn't know how to manage how I was feeling, or where that come from. So I would say that. And also the peace that I have with knowing how to get through it is God. Because I can't do anything, or I can't continue to do anything without him. And I know that he's always going to be my answer when I feel bad about myself, or when I feel lonely, or anything like that. So, um, that's who helped me really tackle everything as well. Of course, nobody else. I can't do it, obviously.
But
So,
those are
yeah,
those are two great tools, right? Because I was going to say, even if you felt like it didn't come from one specific place, like you said, God, right? Because everything we have in us is already, everything we're going to use is already in us, right? It
right.
just takes those moments and those life lessons to pull it out of us. It's already in us, right?
Hmm.
We have the tools that's necessary. Sometimes we just need something to activate those moments. And then therapy, like you said, being able to, put yourself in therapy for whatever the case may be, because, a lot of people will say they need these helps and these supports and services, but they won't actively push themselves to do it. So there was
Right.
multiple things that just said, like, hold on, these are some things that I need in my life to help me elevate personally and professionally. So for you personally, how important was it for you, because your business is around content, around branding, right? So not being on social media, pulling back and eliminating these distractions. How important was you tapping into those personal things benefiting your professional life?
Well, taking the time out, actually, it seems like when I take a break is when God really shows Himself, and by word of mouth, everyone contacts me, and I'm just like, well, praise God. So I don't have to really do anything on social media because everybody just comes to me when I have a break.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so I would just say that it helps me focus a little bit more on what I need to be professional, because sometimes, like I said, I was a social media manager, so I was always on social media, doing this and that, and it can be overwhelming. And so that was another reason why I wanted to take a break too, is because having to do content for other people, I lacked in my own business, and that hurt me because I was like, why am I putting so much into everyone else and not enough into me? So that break benefited me because I was able to revamp what I needed and what I saw for myself.
Mm. Can we dig a little deeper? Because I think these are two things that a lot of us experience. And I think from like the personal aspect, like, I want to thank you for being vulnerable and sharing it. The mental intimidation that we go through
Mm-hmm.
with social media, right? I always say as adults we experience peer pressure, or I look at low self-esteem, right? As adults we don't use that word, it's not in the language as much, but I feel like social media can tug on your self-esteem, right? We could talk about the impact that it has on the youth, and we could talk about how, it affects our youth and the decisions that they're making. But a lot of adults, right? I say for me, you would never catch me doing no TikTok video. I feel like that's peer pressure. Like people like, oh, you got to do it for your business. Da-da-da-da. No, I'm going to stay true to Tanja. I'm going to stay true to who I
Right.
am and what I do. But a lot of people do it because they want to go viral, or they want to build, and they want to do these different things. And consuming it so much can change who you are and the things that you do and the way that you operate. So for you, what were some of those moments that you were feeling that kind of, just to go a little deeper, that you kind of like felt yourself like being subconscious and getting in your head and just feeling like your mental was shifting? Because I feel like it does affect a lot of our mental
Mm-hmm.
health, and not a lot of us talk about it as much.
Okay. So the moment that I really had to step back is, I'll be honest. So I have a boyfriend, right? And so I was once married before, and I still long for companionship or whatever. We're not there at the moment. But hopefully we'll get there one day. And so I'm always seeking those people that seem like they have this amazing relationship, and I'm seeing them together, they do this and they do that, and I'm like, well, we're not we're not there yet. And then also it's like my love don't look like theirs, and their love doesn't look like mine, and that messed with me. And then also with me being a brander and a website designer and all that, I was trying to look out for other people that do the same thing as graphic designers, and I'm like, well, they look like they really have it together, and I don't. And so that messed with me as well. Now I look at the followers, I look at the engagement, and then I just was like, but I didn't want to overwhelm myself with not putting in the work as they do, but as I don't even, and I had to think about, like, I don't even like people like that. Like, people wouldn't tell because I'm just always so bubbly, but I'm like, why would I want that for myself when I can't keep up with 5 people, let alone thousands and millions. So I was like, that would get on my nerves. And so I had to come to a realization that I needed a break so that I could get myself together. I was like, this doesn't mean anything, because at once upon a time, we didn't have none of this. So if it was wiped away, what do we have? We don't have anything. The connections are gone. And so I do remember one time in the pandemic when I think Instagram had shut down, or something happened, and then everybody was talking about what the businesses are gonna
Yeah.
do without having a website. And I was like, y'all hit me up. I make websites. Wait a minute. but but yeah, so I think that was my breaking point, was just seeing the couples and people that's having new babies. Like, I have 3 kids, don't want no more. So that didn't bother me. But just seeing the overall, I guess, the happiness that was going around, and then I was still like grieving, and I was still having other issues um with the loss of my uncle last year or whatever. He was like my best friend, and he was like a father figure for me. And so that kind of, you know, tore me up too. And so having those things to look at or whatever, sometimes looking at other people and what they got going on makes me happy. And then sometimes I'm just like, when it's my turn. But I had to realize that I'm in my waiting season, but also I have to work while I'm in the waiting season as well, because things can't come to me if I'm not doing the work as well. So,
Oh, I'm so glad you came on. I'm so glad that you came on
oh,
because
thank
I feel like this is so powerful because, again, we don't talk about this enough, but you talked about the comparing and then making desires for ourselves that we didn't even want. This
you.
is not even something that we wanted, right? But we're looking at it and we're desiring it. And like the sister said, Mirror, this is a facade, right? So we're longing for something that is a facade. It's a picture, something that we always see. One of my favorite songs by Pink is Family Portrait. It's basically like, this is the picture. It looks beautiful. We look beautiful in the picture, but
Mm-hmm.
behind this picture, there's all these other layers, right? Or that saying of the grass ain't greener always on the other side. So we're looking to get this, but really not knowing what we desire and we want, going back to that self-awareness piece, right? So you taking that time out to say, hey, let's tap into me. And even in the business aspect, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
the genius, and you said, hold on, this shut down. This is my time to promote. This is my time to get in where I fit in. And for me, I remember a sister sharing with me, she was like, don't follow people that's in the same lane as you. For me, I think it's a mindset thing. So my mindset doesn't look at it like, I don't compare myself to other people because I always go back to the reminder of where am I at. I can't try to reach somebody else's goal. I don't know when they started. I don't know how long they've been doing it. I don't know how much work they done put in. I don't know how much effort they done put in. And that's why I love, the Thursday tips and tools, the Black Business Friday. Let's talk about the journey, because once you get the inside, you're going to see maybe you don't even got the hustle to do what sister did, or maybe you don't have to do what she did. Like you said, by you stepping back, you saw God was opening the doors and you didn't even have to put in the work because the work was already put in. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
most beautiful piece. It's like God is going to speak to you, like you said, sometimes when you close off all the other distraction and you only allow for God to come through, He going to speak to you and you've been doing the work and He's going to open the doors, because that saying of the doors is going to open when you're ready is going ready. Because a lot of times what's blocking us from our professional development is that personal. If we don't develop personally, we're going to stay stagnant. You're only going to hit a certain ceiling. You only going to go so far because there's some things that you got to work on before you elevate to that next place. But personally, you wasn't even prepared to deal with what you're dealing with now. So I appreciate you being able to share that. So as a mom, navigating these different emotions, these different feelings, I was looking at, it was something off of one of them shows, and basically the guy was just talking about dealing with his mom and her and growing up, experiencing the different things that he saw his mom experiencing with trauma and how that impacted him. And it made me think about, the times when I was going through my depressions or going through my grief, and the times when I shut my kids out, or I was going through these different phases. So for you, when you're going through these transitions of your personal self, how do you balance mothering? And what are some things that you're working towards to like make sure that you continue to have that balance?
Got you. So I will say it's a struggle for sure. I have three boys,
Mm.
and so and they're all 3 years apart. And so it's like it can be very overwhelming, but my oldest son and my middle son have been through so much with me that they kind of know what to do. And I hate that it's like this. I really do, because I feel like they don't have the chance, or they didn't have the chance to really be like fully on kids, because it's like, oh, I need to protect my mommy, and I need to make sure mommy's okay, or mommy's crying again. They'll tell on me and tell my mama. They'll say mommy is crying. Or there was the time that when my uncle had died or whatever, and they went to the neighbor's house. She lived like next door or whatever, and they went to go get her. And so she came and rubbed my back and held me or whatever. And it was awesome to have kids to know that mommy needed a friend. And because some kids just to be like, oh, okay, oh well, let me go play with my toys, let me go back to the game or whatever.
Yeah.
But having to be a mom at the same time is stressful. It's like I don't get a break. Like and then that's why again, when I was saying about the companionship or whatever, that I wish that I had someone that could help. But thank God that I do have an amazing mom, because even if I do feel those dark times or whatever, I can call my mom and say, hey, can you just keep the kids this weekend for me or tonight? Or something like that. And she's there for me. And but it's hard for me. It's like I need that moment and I can't get it. And my youngest son, he's 3, and he he loves his mama, so he all up under me 24/7 for sure. And he's the one that I'm just like, babe, just let me breathe just for a second. And then he gets upset. So then I have to apologize, because I'm like, at one point I'm just like, look, y'all go sit y'all tail down. I need a minute.
Yeah.
And so, but they'll tell me to listen to my music or whatever. There is a couple of things that I listen to that calms me down. And so I breathe. I bought a sound bowl. And so each of the kids, they help me, play the sound bowl or whatever. So we all join in with that so that we can chill out together. They are usually doing like cosmic, well, they don't do it anymore, but I started them doing cosmic kids yoga. And so, have you ever heard of that?
My mom got my kids. Well, my mom's a teacher, so she does it with her kids. And we had the kids doing it a couple days.
Yes, I love it. Cosmic Kids Yoga is awesome. So when they do that, that's when I take my break, right? So, but yeah, so mothering is good at the same time, but we need help, and we need that moment. So self-care became a big part of my journey as well. So
Yeah. And I thank you for sharing that. I just know that in your bio you talk about being a mother. And, I think having those honest moments with your kids, because you're teaching them compassion. You're teaching them that we're not a strong woman, because I know for me, I didn't see my mom cry, and that was something that I had to break, because I'm like, I need to see feelings. I need to see emotions. I need to see how you deal, right? So I know how to heal, right? Them knowing to, hey, let me go get the village, let me tap into the village. And sometimes we have that mom guilt, like, oh, our child is going through this, but understanding that their journey is what's going to develop them as young men, just like our journey developed us as the people we are today. So just being mindful, like, those lessons have to happen. And I think that what you did really well, and one of the things that I actually started this platform is because usually my program, Sister with Agenda, is for the youth. And I say, okay, we can teach the kids all of these tools, but if mom is not getting it at home, if dad is not getting it at home, and it's not happening in the home, then you're not seeing those transition. And when I started, a lot of people was talking about self-care, and I'm like, are we incorporating this with our kids, right? It doesn't matter at what age your child is. At some point, you have to start talking about self-awareness. You have to talk about coping skills. You have to talk about self-care and self-love and self-awareness and self-expression. And I think you're doing a great job at that, of actually saying, like, mom needs that moment, even with your 3-year-old. Like, my mom and dad was actually laughing at me because I was sitting in my room today, and I was sitting in silence, and they was like, oh, where the kids at? They not like, mommy, look. And the son like, mommy, look, come get her, mommy. And then they both like fighting for my attention. And I'm like, why are y'all laughing? Like, y'all really think that's funny? But, and then my mom also said, I remember I took them to the park and they wouldn't stop talking to me. And my mom was like, that's a good thing, Tedja, but I know that my kids know that balance. Even with them playing together, I make sure they have separate time together, so teaching them that skill, that mommy has emotions, mommy has feelings. I talk them through different things, like when the pandemic was happening, when, you know, grief is happening. I talk to them about those things so they understand that feelings is real. I let my son cry. I tell my son all the time, go ahead, go in the room, have your moment, you know, get yourself together. I don't tell him stop, because it's an emotion that God put in us. And I think that our kids need to see that, especially in our community. And it's
Mhm.
all about framing it and shaping those conversations, and then teaching them tools that they can use to help them transition out of those spaces. It's good to feel, and it's also good to have those coping skills to heal. So I feel like you are
Right.
doing a phenomenal job as a mom,
Oh,
and
thank you.
being honest and vulnerable, and saying that it's not easy. One of the things that I want my youth to understand, that the parenting is not easy. A lot of us growing up, you know, there's like, get married, have kids, but we're not getting the honest truth about the journey, right? This journey is
Mm-mm.
hard. This journey is 24/7, you know, and there, some days there is no support. So how do you manage those times? How do you manage those days, and then balance business on top of that? What made you go into entrepreneurship instead of a 9 to 5? Where did that transition come in?
Well, since we're gonna be honest here, I was kind of forced into it. Um, I I was married and I had a baby. Well, I was pregnant or whatever, and I fell down the stairs and I fell up the
Mm.
stairs at work. And so, my husband then he was like, "No, you're not going back to work or whatever." So I was almost done with the maternity anyway. So I was like, "Okay, cool." And so, then I think we just got a little bit comfortable with me not working, and then he didn't want me to work, and so I was like, "But I need some money." And I only knew, like literally, I only knew how to be a creative. That's all I've ever been my whole life. Like, what else was I gonna do? I'm not good at tech. I'm not good at numbers. I can't be at the bank. Like none of that. So I had to pray about it. I tried to go to school, do online courses, and I was so stressed out or whatever by having a newborn and having the other two kids, and um, ended up being homeless and all this other stuff at the same time. Like I was stressed out. I couldn't see anymore, and all this other stuff was going on with me mentally. And then once I ended my marriage or whatever, I was like, I have to be what God called me to be. Like, I was
Mm.
like, I know He told me I was something, and I was like, but what is it? Excuse me. And so, um, I I call myself Kay the Creative because I am the daughter of the Creator, right? And so He gave that gift to me. He gave me a piece of Him. He is the ultimate creator, and I'm glad to be able to have something that He gifted me. And so that's where I started from. And then I met this lady, whatever, and I started working with her for a while. And then after that ended, I ended up taking a virtual assistant training with one of my good friends. Her name is Juanita Sims, and she does virtual assistant training over at Work Life Balance VA. And she helped me to realize that I didn't need somebody else. I didn't have to work under them. She was like, "You've been doing this for over 10 years. Why do you need to work with somebody else?" She was really my person to push me, because I was like, no, I'm just going to work with somebody else because they already have the clients and nobody's going to want to work with me and blah, blah, blah. She was like, "Girl, what?" She was like, "Do you not know how awesome you are? You can do this. You can have everything that you want, desire, blah, blah, blah." And so once I tapped into that realization that I could do it, then I was like, okay. But that first step of making my business the LLC is what really made me say, boom, there it is.
Mm.
And so, and that was 2 years ago. I've been a designer for over 10 years, but that's when I actually started like taking it serious and full on was like 2 years ago. And
Wow.
I don't plan on stopping.
Congratulations. Congratulations. That's a celebration, because
Thank
I
you.
feel like God favors you. And God continues to push you to the point where it's like, okay, there's something more, and
Hmm.
you are able to master that challenge. I was telling my friend the other day that sometimes our greatest lessons come from the darkest place, right?
Right.
The things that hit us and we don't think that we're going to make it through and it doesn't make sense of it. But that's what's going to birth that new thing, especially when you have the ability to see. So you knowing that, okay, I have this gift in me. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I have to walk in it because me going back
Mm-hmm.
is not even a thing. And I just also want to say your words is so poetic. In the spirit of you being a creator, your words is so poetic. The way you speak and the way you talk about yourself, I love it because it's also raw and transparent as well. So it's not like as if you're really trying to share a poem with us, but it is so poetic. So you might have to add it to your resume of a creator because you have a very poetic spirit
Oh.
about you. But I think that is beautiful when you can know you have a gift, but you don't know what it looked like. I know
Mm-hmm.
for me, my gift is talking, talking and provoking thought. Like I still don't consider myself a life coach. I still don't. I just say, like now, I call myself the culture connection. That's my goal is to connect the culture. Right now, we are connecting Alabama with some of my Philly family. I saw somebody said Georgia's in the building. So that's the goal is to connect because you have a service that also can benefit somebody in the village. You have a testimony that can benefit somebody in the village. And life in the Bibles, in the Qurans, in the books are about testimonies and how
Mm-hmm.
people live their life, the best life that they can live. That's the best of testimonies. But as we continue to share our testimonies, we help people elevate and grow. And I think you do a phenomenal job at sharing your testimony. So I'm so glad that God pushed you and was like, I'm ready to share my story. I didn't have to
Oh,
reach back out. You reached out to me. What was
yeah.
that moment? Like, what was that moment that you was feeling when you was like, I gotta hit Tanja up. I'm ready to share my testimony. Like, what hit you? What was that self awareness piece that connect you? Oh yeah, we got Ghana in the building.
Hi. I really don't know. Baby girl, I don't even know why I hit you up. To be totally honest, I literally don't know because I really wasn't planning on having this moment.
And you
And
wasn't even
so,
on social media at that time.
I wasn't. And so, so it was, it was kind of awkward because I'm like, oh, I guess I gotta do it now. I could do it now because I said something. But once I realized, like, okay, well, maybe I should do it. Like, this is my first time being live with anybody, period. Right? So
Thank you
I
for
was
letting us
super
get the interview.
calm about it. Yeah, I was calm about it. Even though I haven't like talked to you, like just seeing how you talk to everyone else, you have such a beautiful and pleasant spirit. And I was like, I just want to talk to her, like because it's just gonna be me and you, so it's fine. So I was excited about it. I didn't know what to expect, but you make it so comfortable to talk to you, and so I do thank you for that. But yeah, so that moment for me, I just really don't know because, like I said, like you said, I wasn't on social media at the moment at all. Um, but I guess it was meant for me to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you had that detox. So like you said, God was speaking to you, and things were just working through you. And I hope you continue to do lives because this is a way to continue to promote and advertise. Listen,
Right.
always an opportunity to promote and advertise because that's always the end goal. That's why Black Friday is at the end of the week. We're going to release. We're going to reflect. We're going to celebrate. We're going to get some tips and tools in there, and then we're going to promote and advertise. That's what we do here at the Sisters with the Agenda Village.
Nice.
Is all a part of that journey because tapping into our personal will just open the doors for so much more. But we also need those tips and tools to help us get through so that we can continue to level up. And like I said, I'm just so grateful for how God continues to work on you. So, looking back, what are 5 things that you want to celebrate, right? I think you did a lot of personal reflection, a lot of self-awareness, a lot of professional growth in your life.
Mhm.
So what are 5 things that you're celebrating today? Because this is a celebration. We reflect, we release it, and we also celebrate. What are you celebrating?
Celebrate. Let's see. I am celebrating life, number one, because being here is so amazing, even though our ultimate goal is to be with the Father. But at the same time, this is my home for right now. So I do celebrate my life and I celebrate being a mom. Being a mom is so rewarding for me. I don't know what I would be without them. I can't see my life without that right now. And also, I want to celebrate just me stepping out on faith of being an entrepreneur. I think that was really tough for me, to realize that, okay, that I really need to do what I was called to be. That's a emotional feeling to have to go through, and also it's costly. At the same time, I didn't know how that was going to happen, but it worked. I also want to celebrate um, the new connections that I make, that I wouldn't have had if I didn't step out on faith. Like some of the people that I've met along the way, and especially my clients, like they are like family. So they're like my sisters and brothers now, and I think that's beautiful. We can call each other every day and it not have to be about business. And also, I want to just celebrate love, like, because I didn't think that I would fall in love again. And so I think that is so awesome for me. And I know people be like, I love that for you. I love that for myself. Because I went through it, baby. And I feel so much different. I feel like I have such a glow about myself when it comes to my business, and I'm proud of me because I didn't think that I would get far at all. So I'm proud of me. I would say that. So those are my I guess I said 5, baby. I don't know if I went over or not.
Look, you can keep on going. This is, like I said, this is a celebration, and not a lot of us take inventory of those little things. And I remember, being in that dark place and having that moment where a girlfriend had to talk to me and say, "Girl, you've been doing it," right? That moment, like
Hmm.
we all need those people that just remind us, because sometimes we get in our head and we get in our own way and we don't really see our gifts. So that sometimes those outside people in our village has to remind us, like, no, sis, you've been doing this. Don't doubt it because you was behind a 9 to 5 or whatever the case may be. This is you, and that's a part of you. So I remember me challenging myself to do a gratitude list of all the things that I was grateful for. And for me, it was just like not getting angry, not getting mad. So I started with little stuff like that, and my pages just kept going and going. And I was like, hold on, yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did that. Wait, hold on, I did this too.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, especially when you have a strong relationship with God, we always think of just being humble. And humble
Hmm.
doesn't mean to not celebrate yourself. Humble does not
Right.
mean not patting yourself on the back. Humble doesn't mean showing up in the room and knowing that you are the asset. You are the asset in the room tonight. You are an asset. You are a valuable. You hold valuable. You are loved. You are worthy of love. And sometimes this book that I'm reading by Yana Van Dan, sometimes we lose that as adults because of all of the different pressures and expectations that's put on, by the world, that when we were a kid, couldn't nobody tell us nothing. Like we knew who we were, and I think that's the beauty of also being a mother, because it just reminds you, like, when you were a child, can't nobody tell you anything. You were very confident, you were very bold and courageous, and ready to explore and jump out there and try different things. Or if somebody asked you what you wanted to be, you knew, right? You knew
Hmm.
those things. And the world puts all of these different pressures and social media and different things in front of us to distract us of what's really in us. So then we stop in our own greatness. But you definitely allowed those things to just be a lesson for you. Like my sister Mira Manai coach says, that 1,000 mistakes is an education if you're willing to learn. And you took all of your mistakes and all of your different obstacles and used it as a moment to learn and better yourself and continue to grow and elevate,
Right.
especially in those personal areas, because the more you tap into those lessons, the lessons won't come back up and you know that you mastered it and you passed the test. So that is a compliment within itself. So I'm so grateful for that. Can you let the village know how they can connect with you, with service you offer, and anything you have coming up?
Yeah. So right now I'm offering a Orange Friday deal. Because I know that Black Friday, being an entrepreneur and having to deal with Black Friday and Cyber Monday can be a hot mess sometimes. So I wanted to offer something that I decrease my prices tremendously so that I can be of service to other people at this time that they would need graphics done, right? So I do have that in place right now. And also, I'm doing a creative check in, which is basically holding my clients or my friends accountable of getting creative projects done. So, say if you wanted to do an ebook, we'll start doing the ebook together and go through the process, and I'll check on them each week. We'll do weekly Zooms, all that as well. And then let's see, what else do I have going on? That's pretty much it as a deal right now that I have going on. But I also, at the end of the day, I'm also just like a graphic designer, period. So I do flyers, I do logos, websites, and you can follow me at Discovering K on here. And then also my website is www.kthecreative.com. So if you'd like to check that out, then that'd be great. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm just discovering myself one day at a time, being a creative, and I just want to share my journey with other creatives and other entrepreneurs because when I can see them grow, I see myself growing and I see myself in them because I'm like, hey, I did that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I want to be able to celebrate my clients and see their products in the stores and on billboards and on buses and everything else. I think it's so fun to create for companies. It's a blessing, and
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody that connects with me.
I say all the time that we all have something in us that is beneficial to the development of the village. And like you said, to know that your creativity is not only helping somebody elevate, but it's a piece of you and a piece of your legacy that you're leaving, right?
Hmm.
I love when like I ride through the city with my husband. He's like, oh, I built this over here, or I did this over here. Or my dad is like, I did this, or I worked with that person. So to be able to have your legacy for you to show to your
Hmm.
kids and that growth and that development, I think is just a beautiful thing that you'll continue to grow and you continue to experience. So shout out to you and all the great things that you got going on. You got some people that's going to slide in your inbox. You
Well,
got
I
your village
appreciate
here. You got your village here that's promoting and advertising for you. So she must be the real deal because they're here tonight. I want you all to drop some gems, right? Usually we dropping flowers because this is Testimony Tuesday and we seeing her blossom and grow. But Kate dropped some gems tonight. So if you got some gems that you
it.
can
Oh,
walk away with that's going to help you elevate tonight, drop some gems and let our sister know that she came through. And I'm so grateful, like I said, that you challenged yourself, that God spoke to
yeah.
you and said, hey, I need to come on. I got a testimony to share. And I thank you for uplifting those two parts of sometimes we're not ready, but when we're ready, it's so important for us to just speak it. That
Hmm.
release part is so big for our growth and our development. And then also just this space is comfortable. A lot of people get so nervous with getting on
Yeah.
live or get nervous with talking to me. And I'm just like, listen, this is like a sister conversation. This is the
Right.
conversation that I say is necessary. I always think of Soul Food Sunday, the conversations that's necessary to have around the table with our families. That's going to help us grow, that's going to help us elevate, and just help us stay grounded. Because you
Hmm.
talked about that relationship with God and how important it is. It keeps us grounded to where we going to go and how we going to grow, because those things are the two important part. Like where we're at is not the ceiling. We have so much more to come. So a lot of us, this is our best year because we have tapped into so many things. But imagine what's going to come next, but also not holding on to whatever is distracting us or whatever is keeping us stagnant, because you don't know how much you're needed right now, and you don't know if tomorrow's promised. So making sure that you all, if you have a testimony to share, the space is open. If you have tips and tools, the space is open, because again, we got to make sure we get those tips and tools to level up personally and professionally. Okay, this is the full circle over here. We are back live for We See You Wednesday tomorrow to spotlight my brother A Slim. I'm so grateful to be able to spotlight him. And then we also are back for Thursday Tips and Tool with this wellness. She's in the room tonight. So I'm so grateful for my guests, that y'all all continue to believe in me, to allow me to amplify your mission, your message, and your story. So if you would like to be a guest, we do have a limited amount of spots left for December. Also, stay tuned. Sisters with Agenda and Urban Queen will be dropping a podcast. We're going to be highlighting some people in Philadelphia. I can't tell y'all what the mission is behind it, but if you would like to be a guest on our podcast and you are in the city of Philadelphia, DM us, because we going to talk about some great things, and I'm super excited. So make sure y'all go enjoy the YouTube page now, because we about to blow up. Check out the LinkTree. Everything is there. And thank you again, Kay, for just joining us. Thank you for being in Alabama and representing the Sisters with the Agenda Village. Thank you for tapping in, because somehow you found me on the new page. And like I said, I reached out to her back when we was on the old page. So that it just means a lot to me that I'm planting these seeds, and that God is continuing to use me to help people, just tap in and just share and be able to impact so many people, because they said that you didn't drop some gems tonight. Okay, so we are giving you your
Thank
flowers. We
you.
appreciate you. I want you to continue to use this time to just continue to blossom and grow, because you have everything in you that you need. And I'm super excited to see what you do next. So make sure y'all tap in. And I will see y'all all tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So tell a friend to come join in the conversation. Tell them to come check the replay. And you can catch all our replays on YouTube. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.